Since the chord change update, some characters' combos have been nerfed by becoming interruptible by light spam. Zone attack being also nerfed, we've seen some character guard break punishes being greatly diminished. And then Warmonger happened. You either love her or you feel like
Is the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
these are odd times for Honor right now, and more than ever, I think choosing a weak hero is going to give you a much harder time. So let's see if we can find more ways to have more fun in For Honor Year 3. So in the strong tier list, in no particular order, Warden is still strong. His Bash Feint game is very strong. He's got easy access to unblockable heavies with good damage. So just keep playing the same way you've been doing all along. You'll be just fine. Centurion is still a great ganker. He's got a great feinting game also. And the charge punch that comes after a finisher has insane tracking. He also has a very good stamina drain, so I think he's in a very good place. Black Pryor has a great zone option select. He's got also an amazing offense with 3 neutral unblockables and one of them being feintable. And he's got the best defense move in the game. He's in a great place right now, as always. Lawbringer still has a very strong heavy parry punish with a wall behind. His shove light into unblockable feinting game is still very strong for an offense. Impale and long arm are still very strong gank tool. I think he's still very threatening. Just be careful when you're using shove light into unblockable. After a light, the top unblockable can get interrupted by a light spam. Warmonger, as of this patch, still has crazy feats. She has Warden's great bash feinting game and a roll catcher. She also gets a 23 damage heavy parry with wall behind with decent range. I mean, what's missing? The shotgun? Highlander is still a very strong ganker with 35 damage neutral unblockables. Those might change with the next update though. And at the moment, this might be a bug, but he can light spam you to death and always keep attack priority. And I do believe this is a bug because it goes against what Ubisoft have been trying to do with the core change. Shaman is still the mother of all ganks. Her unblockable heavy after a light attack is interruptible by a light attack, but it is not interrupted after a heavy attack or a dodge attack. She also keeps priority of attack after her Raven's poke, whatever it's called. Although now that the light and zone attack have both been nerfed, her bash doesn't lead to much now. Hitokiri is still very strong with a neutral unblockable. The kick does not get interrupted by light spam in any situation, so after a light or after a heavy, the kick lands. And so does the charge heavy. The only thing that loses to light spam is the sweep. In any situation, you will be knocked off of your sweep by a light attack. Shigoki right now has pretty much the best light spam in the game. He has access to neutral unblockables and is still a very strong ganker. The regular Demon Embrace will trade with light spam, but the charged Demon Embrace will lose to light spam every time. Zhang Jin still has amazing mobility and iframe, which makes him a great team fighter. He has easy access to an AoE unblockable finisher. His stamina drain is off the charts. Just watch for light spam when you do your light to heavy finisher. And the guard break punish being a zone attack has been nerfed tremendously. We are now in the OK tier. These guys are still pretty strong. You shouldn't have any major problem fighting with them. First we have Conqueror. He's still the Turtle King. Great bash game, nothing has changed here. If you're a Conk main, just keep doing your thing. Gladiator still has a great gank and probably the best zone option select in the game. His offense is still very hard to react to because of the many neutral unblockables. Just remember that Skewer loses to Hyper Armor every time if you go for a deflect or a finisher. So Raiders' guard break punishes have been nerfed since it was his zone attack. Still has a great neutral unblockable games. The chained zone attack is basically very strong AoE zone attack. Just keep in mind that the chained zone attack will be interrupted every time by a light spam. So if you know you're fighting a light spammer, you might be better off just going for raw heavies, raw chained heavies. Those will trade very, very hard with the light spam. Berserker hasn't changed much. I think he's still as good as he was. The only problem here now is that his offense was based a lot on cancelled heavies into hyper armored light. And now that the stamina cost of those has increased a lot, he might not be as relentless as he was before. Jormungandr has a very bad stamina drain now. It's kind of a joke. But he has access to very cool unblockable finishers that can ledge or wall splat. Is very usable. With his feats, he has great survivability. Definitely not strong, but he's doing alright. Warlord's bashes now confirms very little damage, but it's still a pretty decent offense. And do keep in mind that if you're fighting a light spammer, you can chain it into a heavy and trade with the light. As always, he's very good at ledging, and his AoE undodgeable zone attack is still very useful in teamfight. Kensei, if you chain the unblockable after a light attack, you will lose to light spam every time, so just be watchful for those. He has good guard break damage that can lead to his unblockable feint games. Watch for his zone attack, it can be easily interrupted by light spam. And lastly, his dodge heavy attack is still very good. Nusha with her traps is still very playable. Her heavy finishers that can wall splat are also very strong. I think she's in a good place. Shaolin, the only chi attack you can land after a light attack is a top light. Everything else will get interrupted by light spam. So you're gonna have an easier time reaching chi stance with your heavy attack and following up with those. Just be mindful that the top unblockable will always get light spammed. Now they've nerfed a bit of his chi light attack, but he still has good chi heavy attacks damage. The chi crushing counter light attacks are still very good. It's good damage, but it's now very hard to pull off of light attacks. He still has very good wide range on his dodge attack and his undodgeable chi heavies, so I think he's still a very good team fighter. And now we're entering the weak tier. Sadly, 3 of my favorite characters are in this tier. So Valk now, she has probably the worst bash opener of them all. The sweep got nerfed pretty hard. She has now decent chained heavy attack, but those are so telegraphed that they don't land as often as other characters. Just remember that you have a great light finisher with the side light doing 80 stamina damage. This is probably the best stamina drain in the game right now. Very useful. And with the light attacks being a lot harder to react to now, I think you're going to land those fairly often. Nobushi. So oddly, she can still dodge light spam you to death, but I think this is not enough to make her strong. The kick doesn't land very often. She has decent damage on her side heavies, and she also has a pretty good wide range for team fight, but that's about it. Aramusha still has decent heavy damage. His heavy finishers, if you delay them, will get light spam, so if you were in the habit of doing that, you might want to stop. His heavy parry has been nerfed quite a lot. He still has no opener, and his walk-in speed is atrocious, so I love him to death, but I think he's pretty weak. Tiandi, his palm strike offense has been nerfed quite hard, because now both his light and his dodge light damage are very low. He's got good damage on dodge heavy attacks, but those are very easily blocked or even guard broke. The zone into kick into undodgeable attack has been quite nerfed, and with the stamina cost of doing it now, I don't think it's very much worth it. One thing though, he still has one of the most satisfying ledge in the game, and for that I will love him to death. Zhang, his unblockables get interrupted by light spam after both light or zone, and he has now 9 damage dodge light or dodge heavy attacks, which both count as dodge light, so you get interrupted before you're unblockable. Even though he has easy access to unblockable attacks, I don't think it's enough to make him into the OK tier. And Peacekeeper, I mean, she's dead. That's it. Orochi still has no opener. His top unblockable can be beaten by back dodge or a regular zone option select, so it's still not very strong. His light attacks got nerfed to hell, so still not very strong. Shinobi, he's good at one thing really, and that's guard breaking people from out of screen. So again, nothing too threatening there. So in conclusion guys, if you've been struggling at playing For Honor these past few weeks, remember that you can always pick the Knight faction. But yeah, as I said, you can pick pretty much any character from the OK tier. You should be fine, just play to your strength and you should have fun. Just make sure you stay out of the minion lane if you see Warmonger hanging there. So guys, I'd really like to know what you think about this new patch, this new direction that UB is trying to go in right now. Did one of your character get nerfed to death? Just tell me in the comment below. So that's it for me guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. And as always, play to win. Cheers.